Look at all that money. It might make someone very happy to have, but in fact, it's a sign of fear out there, at least in the corporate side of things. John Bussey, who writes the business column for the Wall Street Journal, is here, and he's going to tell us. You look memorized by those dollars, by the way, John.
I am.
But there's, I think, $1.74 trillion of cash on U.S. balance sheets. You call this a reflection of fear, and I'd say, well, yeah, no duh. Of course it's fear. So what?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of more broadly, it's how corporate America is looking at the world right now. And this has been a trend we've been reporting on now for a couple of years, but it just continues to sustain itself. It's not like diminishing at all. If anybody thought that after the crisis things were going to kind of come back into focus and people were going to kind of feel like they had enough set aside, they're wrong. Most of the CFOs we were talking with find that
this was at the Wall Street Journal CFO conference earlier this week.
Yeah, that's right. Are as concerned now as they were back in 2000.
There you see, if you look on the screen, John, you'll see the amount of cash there. That's just the
this is just the industrial. This is just the S&P industrials, and you can see the
look at that rate of change, right?
So if you wanted to have a view of how corporate America looks at the world right now, this is it. All right, they're setting aside powder. They're setting aside cash, in case of what? In case of, you name it, slowing China, worst crisis in Europe, political gridlock in Washington. Kind of lack of clarity overall.
Is this hurting our economy? Because the gut reaction would be that's cash that should be put to better use, and dare I say it, maybe actually some jobs.
Yeah, right. Well, this is President Obama's position, and the FFL-CIO's position is that this is kind of ridiculous. If you started to invest, we would be able to generate more jobs. But if you look back over the last couple of years, it looks like business is really doing both. There's been rather substantial kind of uptick from the recession years of business investment and savings at the same time. Why? Because earnings are pretty good. Productivity is high. A lot of people got laid off, so costs are down. But the companies are still looking at this and saying, look, we hear that, but if we build it, we're not sure they're going to come.
Right.
We're not going to expand our lines if we're not sure that the consumer is back in action. And remember,
but isn't that the eternal case for people who have to make business investments?
It is, but the eternal case for those people also is if they see economic growth, they're going to try to get out ahead of it. They don't see economic growth right now. Instead, what they remember is 2008 and trying to run a business and going to the capital markets and finding them in seizure and not being able to get enough money to fund their businesses. So almost to a person that we talked to said, look, I'm putting it aside not because we're going to divvy this up among management. I'm putting it aside in expectation that I'm going to not be able to get the money that I need from the capital markets.
Right. Well, it's stunning to think about, right? How, at least intellectually, psychology, emotionally, we want to believe that the experiences we have are the experiences we'll have again. And if there is another shock to the world economy, it may well not be similar to 2008. The outcome may be different, and all that hoarding of cash might have been for naught.
Yeah. Psychologically, I think people also like to think, hey, if we go through a big shock and we see a problem, we fix it, right? And it's been a few years now, and we fix it. And what these managers are telling you, and they're doing it in a very very pragmatic, very straightforward discussion, what they're saying to you is that, yeah, there might be a patina of it having been fixed, but it's not, in our mind, fixed sufficiently that we're not going to have cash in the bunker.
Right. We just have a few seconds left. Should government incentivize companies to take that cash and put it to work?
Well, should government incentivize companies to bring all that cash back from abroad?
But yes or no? We only have a few seconds left.
The studies show that the incentive in 2004 didn't work to diminish cash levels.